All right, cyber traders, good morning and welcome on back here this Tuesday, October 25th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, this is not Fausto. My name is Josh Levitan. Fausto is actually just doing a webinar this morning, interestingly timed at least with when he does normally the morning meeting. But great to see Brian, great to see Wayne, Andrea, Leda, Chuck, all of us inside the live trading room. Let me know if you folks can hear me loud and clear. I normally do that mic test before I officially hop on here, but great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Hopefully I'm good to go across the board. Folks, we have a lot of stuff to talk about here right out the gate. A couple of different housekeeping notes. This TSHA is still moving up pretty nicely here, perhaps building a higher low right now and ready to make one more pop before the market opens. But really briefly, we ended up finishing up the phase two, or we ended up beginning the phase two stock course, I should say, just yesterday. So for any of our gold, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond C2 students here, the recordings of those should be up on the student portal at this point. But we're going to continue the live classes, the live phase two classes coming up tomorrow, Wednesday the 26th, same times. So that being 10:30 and 3 p.m. Eastern. So, we'll post the link for that in the trading room tomorrow through email, etc. But today's Tuesday, though, and the reason why we don't have class today officially is because today, being Tuesday, is for Traders Talks. So for all of us inside the live trading room, whether you're a student or trial member or just, regular member of the trading room at least, you folks have access to our weekly Traders Talk workshop. That being today at 11 o'clock Eastern. So if you have any trading related questions, I had a couple sent over even from last week I didn't have a chance to get through. So, for Wendy and all of us just here live, if you have any questions, feel free to send it over to my email address, josh@c2trading.com. And same to be said for any trial members joining us right now. If it's your first day or if you're just joining us for this week, and if you have any specific questions in regards to, whether it be our, watch lists, anything on the screen that you're seeing, level 3, level 4, as we intermittently show it, let me know. Send over a quick email. And, hey, if you wanted to join us for that on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, just go right down to the link on the blue banner below right there, the stream. You could just sign up for a small trial. You could begin today or at any point. All these workshops that we conduct are all recorded too, so you could actually access all of the past week's archived recordings. All right, so with that, though, TSHA, I mean, hey, prior to 8 a.m., not a whole lot was moving too well. Like there wasn't really a lot looking great. I wasn't really too interested with much. Even a couple on the watch list, I was like forcing myself to put on. So TSHA was one of those to a degree. It was kind of coiling up, not doing a whole lot at first. But that leads me to say that when there's like utterly nothing out there in the pre-market or in the morning or in any trading session, it makes you scan more. And I specifically wrote that in the chat board because it was so quiet. Like I want to make conversation in the chat, make things lively. But if I don't have a good market to work with, it's kind of hard to do that, right? So I specifically wrote that at 8:04 in the morning. I said, haven't seen a whole lot this morning. That is interesting. Plenty of time or plenty of time left, but just scanning right now. All right, well, that leads me to say I'm not just scanning the gainers and losers lists, but I'm keeping more of an eye on a couple that may be beginning to perk up. So TSHA, we were solely focused on this by the time it was moving up towards the VWAP price again. If you had joined me yesterday in the phase two live class, and you'll watch that on the recording if not, but we were talking about the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and that was roughly off 210, 211. And it was holding underneath that for a little bit, and going into 8:30 ended up re-breaking above the VWAP here and led to a nice clean, I don't want to drop the E word on this just yet, but it was nice and clean. Simple move, right? Good spread, good liquidity on level 3 and level 4 otherwise, and makes it just tradable. So every trade begins with the entry, the VWAP. We talked about that just in class yesterday. So if you were there in phase 2, you should realize that was resistance. That was holding pretty nicely as a top at first. And once it broke it here, led to a really nice, clean run. Right now, like I said, it's beginning to build a higher low for right now. The question is, do we get the higher high? There's a couple of orders out there on the ask at like 245, 248, 250. So, even if it does break technically higher from here, I don't know how much more it's going to look to squeeze up. You do have a couple of icebergs up top there. All right. So we'll start off by putting this on our watch list at least here. You know what? Let's go from top to bottom. There's a couple of others that we ended up catching. They're more on the loser side. The ones from yesterday, like the KSPN. We'll talk about those pretty briefly, but for right now, let's just kind of scan and build up our watch list. I want to see if anything ended up making a pop off like the 9 o'clock move. There's a couple of different timed moves between program trading and more so just when companies release news, and that being at like 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Sometimes in between an 8:30 there, but we'll see if anything just recently popped after 9 o'clock right now. It's not popping, but WEBR, we also had this on our pre-market watch list, mind you, but the liquidity really didn't check out too nicely, and it was flat for a long time prior to 8 o'clock and after for a little bit. So I saw it begin to move up, but I didn't even call this one out inside the chat board, just being very truthful with that. I wasn't a fan of the liquidity, so it's pushing on up a bit. Hopefully the order book fills in a lot more after the open. So for right now, we'll keep it on our list. It's hard to fight that trend. It seemed to be said on the RLX, not as much on the liquidity side, but just it being flat prior to 8 o'clock, no real move up after. So this was kind of disappointing. The mob trade we had called out off the pop, and unfortunately, this I'll bring up level 4 right now just to show. I may have even deleted it just from my screen, so give me a quick second here. I'll pull it back up. But on the mob trade, this is pretty interesting. Goes to show that, just because a stock was starting to pop doesn't mean it's going to continue. And in the case of this, we ended up seeing a huge iceberg order pop up shortly afterwards, right here at 183. So we took our eyes off this trade even from that point. As it started to make the higher high, it ended up pulling back, and we ended up seeing it just start to hold support before it ended up making this violent shake back down. And as soon as it did that, like instantaneously, we ended up seeing this big order pop up for about like 25,000 shares over time. It grew to be. So at that point, we took our eyes off this trade. It actually ended up making a move back up. It looks like it ended up filling that order and false breaking it essentially. If I was watching this at the time, just to be very truthful with you, I wouldn't be interested in this break. I would want to give it a lot of different tests and times. So perhaps if it had the chance to hold VWAP as support and push back, maybe. But obviously it didn't do that. Ended up just beginning to snap back down. So just wanted to show that there. Kind of interesting case of seeing an iceberg order pop up shortly after the drop off. But yeah, mob right now not doing anything. So. All right, we'll keep it going. We'll keep it moving. See what else we got here. Is this Logitech? Yeah, Logitech, like the some, you know, headset headphone device company. I'm losing track of like what they really are. They're more of like just like a tech company, right? They make all of these like audio video products, I believe. So with that, I mean, they're making a nice little push up right now. A little spotty though, a little spotty chart. Order book pretty thin for a $49.50 stock. I don't really find it much worth it right now. I mean, it's pushing up, hard to fight the trend, like I said on WEBR, but WEBR's a lot cheaper. So if we're comparing the two, I mean, they're not in the same business, but in the sense of liquidity and trends, this looks a lot better. All right, we had CGC. My scanner's just refreshed on me there. Just 1 second. I see Canopy Growth, CGC, pot stock up over 5% right now. But even this, I didn't call this out in the chat earlier, but I did catch it prior to 8 o'clock. It was beginning to make a small move, but ended up dying off and really flattened out after. So this could be a stock I'm more like drawn into because we're familiar with trading the stock. It's like, it could be a potential, teaser. And if it's a teaser, it's roping me in, right? So we're familiar with this stock. We'll check out Tilray pretty quickly, but Tilray's doing jack right now, not doing anything. MJ pot stock ETF is not doing anything right now either. So it's not really a sector-based move. It's more just like maybe CGC coming out with earnings or like, news of its own. I'll check it out briefly. Go to Benzinga Pro for right now. Just check to see the news on CGC. All right, let's see what we got here right now. Canopy Growth announces plan to convert common stock holding. All right, that's it, I guess. Just doing a little conversion of common stock offering. A little move up at first, but it's gone flat since. So that actually doesn't make me as drawn to it. We'll focus on others, see if there's anything looking better. Not going to rope me in today. And if it ends up popping, then we'll get roped into it. I want to see a little bit more out of this trade, actually. TCOM, trip.com, little gap up and a little drop off after. That's pretty much it, though. Not a whole lot showing on the gainer side, folks. Let's hop over to the losers, see if there's anything looking just as good, if not better. There's one from yesterday that will pull up if it looks good. What was that? TCDA, the one that was down like 94%. Xerox down big. Shortable within the price range. Hopefully the order book fills in more on this stock, so I don't mind giving this a look on the short side. Just wait for the order book to fill in more, wait for, the market to open up obviously first, and wait to see if this ends up filling in a lot more. If so, good. If not, then I would honestly move on to something else. That could be CLF. CLF we had on our pre-market watch list. It was showing great direction early in pre-market. It was liquid enough. And, I guess since it went flat at first, but recently ended up just breaking back below 14 and led to a new drop. So nice short and continued move on CLF. There's Bill I. Hopefully he's doing well. I know he's recovering still, I think, from this point, but CLF, one of his favorite stocks. So hopefully he's in that on the short side. Also, quick shout out to Michael D, one of our longtime students, I believe. I think he has a little eye procedure going on this morning, so he's not going to be in the trading room. So I want to wish him well. I just wanted to mention that at least. So let's see what else we got here in the meantime, folks. CLF will put on our list. Xerox, not as much. SBSW, not a whole lot happening there. Dropped off at first. It is shortable, but let's see what else we have. GLW. That might just about do it. We're dipping below 5% category now. There could be a name brand, a side list stock that looks really good, folks. I mean, we had great direction within the market yesterday. So, we could definitely check out a few that, could look to make a nice push. I love Neo, or I have in the past. I mean, it's pushing up a little bit here. I didn't mark my chart for Neo today. I ended up mapping out Mara, not on a swing trade basis, maybe, but initially it's going to start off as a day trade. So, I just mapped this out as a day trade. I ended up swinging JD overnight from yesterday, so that's moved up pretty nicely since. A nice gap up at least to begin. I'll probably look to exit that just shortly after the open, just to yank profits. I don't really have like a real materialized game plan aside from 38. There might be a little resistance above 38 from a long-term fib I set up from yesterday. So I'm just going to take profits here really soon. But that ended up working out pretty well, the swing trade on JD. I had mentioned that in the chat board yesterday. Lee saying WEBR is a buyout offer. Ooh, all right. Is it a real buyout or is it a rumored buyout? Oh, yeah. Wow. WEBR shares trading higher after BDT Capital offered to acquire all outstanding shares for $6.25 per share in cash. So I don't know if they accepted it. I mean, I guess for now, keep it on our list. But if it gets even flatter than what it's doing now, then just move on from it. Then take it off the list then at this point, or at that point. Brian says CGC will no longer wait until federal legalization to buy 3 U.S. cannabis companies and opportunities to benefit from strong growth in state-by-state cannabis sales. All right, well, that sounds pretty interesting. If that's the reason as to why it ended up moving up early this morning, then perhaps that could lead to a continued pop. But for right now, I'm not fully sold on it. Direction on it doesn't seem to be that great. That's all right. We don't need to force anything on our watch lists, folks. So otherwise, I mean, Mob is trying to eke back up a little bit, but we were thrown off by that one early on, so not going to put that back on just yet. The RLX, I guess I'll jump back to. That one's, I think, trying to. Oh my God, you can't even say trying. I mean, sometimes Benzinga will tell me a stock is moving up, but this is not necessarily moving up, right? This is like, I don't even know. It's like just like complete flat. It's like watching the grass grow, right? So if it ends up popping after the open, I'm sure we'll call it out. It's up over 13% and it's a cheapie. So if more eyes can get drawn to this trade, perhaps this could have another pop to it. But the more time we spend watching this, then the less time we have capitalizing on stocks that are actually trending and making any sort of respectable move, right? All right, so folks, I think that we're going to call it right now. We only have 4 stocks on our main morning watch list. Let me know if there's anything else that looks really good that I may have missed. Brian says Neo may be worth watching today. Keyword, maybe. Maybe. If it ends up popping, I'll likely look at it, but I told you I didn't even chart the trade Neo yet today. All right, so folks, again, keep in mind, phase 2, we're going to continue the phase 2 stock course tomorrow, not today, but tomorrow. Today, we have our Traders Talk workshop conducted live inside the Cyber Group room. So if you're a trial member, or a full-fledged student, just keep in mind that we normally conclude our morning audio broadcast here at 10:30 Eastern time. I'm going to jump onto a coaching call with one of our students, and then I'm going to jump back on the mic here at 11 o'clock Eastern time for Traders Talk. So all you need to do is just be inside the live trading room. Just be logged in right now as you are, and we'll begin at 11 o'clock. Any questions that you have, feel more than free to send over via email, josh@ctutrading.com. Again, I already got some questions that came in from Mark and Wendy, so keep them coming in, folks. First come, first answer, right? So, folks, keep in mind, again, for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the blue banner below the stream just to get started. If you have any questions, I'm not going to answer them inside our weekly workshop if you're not going to join us, but feel more than free to email me separately on top, josh@ctutrading.com. Any questions or comments or thoughts that you have, definitely let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer after the market closes later on today. All right, folks, for all of us otherwise, I look forward to talking to you coming up at the opening bell. Got to get a new water bottle. I'll talk to you folks soon. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it.